Mr. Gabriele Meucci, welcome to Kallxo.com. With the first question, I want to take you back to autumn 2014 when you arrived here and Bame went public with the allegations of corruption in EULEX. Can you remember, were you having second thoughts? What was going on through your head then in fall 2014? Were you regretting taking this job?
Well, to tell you the truth, for the first 2 weeks, I didn't undo completely my luggage.
Really?
I said, I may leave one day, just tomorrow maybe. No, it was certainly a shock. So I must confess, it's the first time I say that, for 2-3 weeks, I said, am I really staying here or not? Is this a reasonable job to do or not? Then I said I was comforted by the people and the staff working with me, and I saw that they are all efficient, honest, and hard workers, and I said, maybe I can stay, the machine is working. And I'm very glad the report came out, because it's very good news for us. Finally, there is no shade anymore.
So you were not worried at all afterwards?
Well, to tell you the truth, I didn't know about these things that Bamier was telling around, So before having an opinion, I had to be documented and read. To Jacquet did this report, but I also, inside the mission, I tried to understand as much as possible about everything. And it was clear after a few months that at least what I could see, these allegations were not substantiated or ungrounded.
Jacquet's report came out, but this is not a judicial inquiry, right? This is a procedural administrative inquiry. Is there any other investigation going on inside EULEX regarding these allegations?
This report is dealing basically on two things. One is how the mission was dealing with the allegations, different allegations. And second, how the mission was dealing with the person that brought the allegations. And regarding the allegation, the report is clear. It says that as far as the allegation, there is one case that was brought to light in the past by the prosecutor. It has been gone through a formal process.
What is the formal process right now?
There is an investigation, a criminal investigation going on, and it's still going on with the support of EULEX, by the way, against a judge that is alleged to.
And that investigation began
in 2013.
2013.
Yeah.
And it's been going on for 2 years. So when is it going to end?
I don't know. I have no information because I cannot have access to that information, to details. It's a criminal investigation, and like every criminal investigation, is confidential.
But that investigation is not closed, right?
No,
it's not closed.
Not yet. And then there are the other allegations that were also brought through a process of internal inquiry, internal investigation from the administrative point of view, were found ungrounded. And also, Jacquet recognizes there is no ground. Second thing is how of the report is how the prosecutor that brought this allegation was treated. Badly or wrongly or justly, and the conclusion is that no wrongdoing was done by the mission.
But you didn't respond adequately. That's what the report says. You're being selective about what the report says.
That's the first part of the report. The second, I'm talking now about how the person that brought the allegation was treated. So if she was like mismanagement in her
but we know how she was treated. She was
fired
dismissed,
or something.
Right?
No.
She was suspended.
No, she didn't pass the test for a post because she was recalled by the government of London.
But eventually, when the articles came out in the press, she was suspended.
Suspended, yes.
Right. She was suspended.
She was suspended
That's how she was treated.
She was legally and rightly suspended.
Actually, you came in to suspend her, so how come...
I came, yes. I was there when I arrived that I had to do that, yes.
Yes. You had to do that, but I'm just interested in like what went on through your mind then, in a sense that you had just come in, you found all this having gone on for 2 years. How come you jumped to that conclusion of suspension so quickly? What made you decide so quickly?
Well, because there were documents that were brought to us by journalists that were, coming from her files. So,
Yes.
and
So shouldn't those documents be kind of treated seriously, an open investigation, rather than just...
in fact, that the case says that they were treated seriously. But my problem at that time was not the substance of the documents, but the fact that documents are coming out from prosecutor office regarding investigations that are pending in courts, which is not to be published or to given to anybody. You know, that's ABC of criminal justice.
Do you regret that decision now that the report has come out?
No.
6 months later, now you know more about this?
It was a technical decision. It was done properly, legally, and it was justified. And I done it like a surgeon does something in an operation room, you know, a technical operation.
But this surgeon is now being sued, right, by Maria Bamei? In labor
Maria
case?
Bamei is a labor case.
Yeah.
But you have to know that the mission had in the time thousands of staff, and we have constantly about a dozen of cases in different labor courts pending.
In the report, you personally were referred to regarding one email, which I have seen, where you say that Ms. Bamei has had a burnout, and therefore it's what she's doing is a consequence of a burnout. Now, I want to stop there and just want to see whether you regret writing that, because the Jacques report is not so impressed with that wording. Do you wish you would have worded it differently? What did you mean by that?
Well, I come from an administration which is similar to the European one, but is a part of one member state, where when we have a case when you don't know actually why a person is acting in a way which is sort of irrational, you know, it's always better to. I mean, I came to the mission, I didn't know anything. I see a prosecutor going to disclose information that are in part of criminal proceedings, and I have. Basically, as a person that is there, you have three scenarios. First, she's doing that intentionally to violate the criminal code, which seems a little bit very grave. You know?
I'm surprised your first guess is not that reporting corruption is normal rather than irrational.
I know, but it was already reported, it was dealt with, so that's why, and she knew it, so that was it's out of question. That's what the report says as well. Secondly, what is the intention? So the thing that you can say to justify the person is that probably a position of stress. You know, the person is working too much, or too many years on very difficult cases. That's what I've honestly thought. Because it was irrational to see this happening. It was out of my logic.
You claim today that...
But I know, it was an opinion, but it was not a decision.
You claim the situation was dealt with. But here we are, me and you, sitting 2 years after we know that the prosecutor is investigating this. We're still 2 years on since the investigation. We have no indictment. There actually is a law in Kosovo which says 2 years is enough to either have an indictment or not.
The role investigation was opened in November.
I mean, excuse my rationality, but I would get a little bit nervous if this was me. Investigation that is not either closing or having an indictment. So isn't it normal to actually come out in the public and take it to the press if investigators have not done anything for 2 years?
Well, I totally agree with you.
I was quite shocked that this report has highlighted something very important for the Kosovo public. It says, lawyers ask their clients to provide them with the money for bribes, and this is a well-known modus operandi in Kosovo. This should therefore be a subject of a criminal investigation. Again, the report said that there is a grounded suspicion that money was collected by Kosovo lawyers working on this particular case, which we reported on our program. And it was collected by 2 staff members among the lawyers, possibly with the purpose of bribing them. The persons collecting the money could be convicted even if no actual payment of the bribe occurred. Therefore, a further criminal investigation on this matter is warranted. Has there been a further criminal investigation into what seems to be, according to Jacques' report, an organized criminal group of lawyers doing this?
There are criminal investigations open against lawyers, intermediators, facilitators that are presenting themselves to people in jail or detained for facilitating their release. There are criminal investigations pending.
Are these criminal investigations being handled by EULEX prosecutors or local prosecutors?
In this particular case, it's local prosecutors.
Do you know the state of these
I don't know.
investigations?
I don't know, but at least in one case, there is a EULEX prosecutor helping, let's say, the locals. Question of the facilitators, intermediators, any kind of a person that introduce themselves by telephone normally to people in distress or their family is common. If you listen to transcription of telephone interception of all criminal cases of a certain niveau, there is always this common presence of people that present themselves, I can help, I know this, I know that.
I know, but now I'm moving on to the other topic.
And this is one of the
Do
cases.
you agree with Jacques' assessment that EULEX made a mistake by initially failing to investigate suspicions?
No, because that was investigated.
Not in time. The investigation started much later, not when she handed over the complaints about these intercepts in 2012. Yeah. Was it late? Was EULEX late? Would you agree?
Well, in that case, the mission made the same job that the prosecutor does. You know, not all information that you receive can be an evidence. So there may be cases that are just parked, and if you collect more information, then they may become an evidence and you start it.
Oh, this evidence was not just parked. According to Jacques' reports, your predecessor, three predecessors lost a report, lost her complaint.
No,
it was not just
lost.
Parked. A report, she filed a complaint and it was lost.
It was found at the end. And also the annexes of the report were in the office.
I know, so but three people lost it.
It was on an email actually, so probably it was not filed properly in the system, but it was in the email it was found.
And they ignored it for a while. That's what the report says.
No, it was not ignored. It was simply, according to the information that were available at that time, it was considered to be not credible, like it is considered to be not credible now, by the way.
But there is an investigation ongoing.
And then in 1 year later,
how come
1 year later it was
hang on,
other
you're
information
telling me
came and then
you do not know the results of the investigation, but on the other hand, you are yourself assuming it's not credible. There are two ongoing investigations, one against lawyers, there's an ongoing investigation against Florit, you're saying, still ongoing, and you are assuming there's no evidence. How come you are making this decision?
That's what the report says, because it cites a decision memo of the mission of 2013 that says that, well, I cannot find it, but it says very clearly that there is no ground to believe or to suspect that these allegations are grounded, are founded.
So are you telling me that today...
But nevertheless, an investigation was opened just to make sure that there is nothing, that's...
But that investigation has still not resulted in closure to say that there is nothing. Okay. So can we go fast forward today? What would you do differently if the same situation occurred? What are the lessons learned for you, and how has EULEX, has it changed in size since October 2014?
But certainly since I came, I have a very formal approach to cases like this, and I had it all my life and also in my previous positions. And in what I'm doing now, I don't have this type of allegations are not present, thanks God. But if I have something like that, I will formalize immediately. I mean, all the teachers that taught me the job, they always tell me in every case you have to formalize, and that's a good thing to do, because then you start a process, which is a formal process, that has rules. Rules is my...
Where does a member of the public go if it wants to report, she wants to report a corrupt EULEX official? How do you do it? Who decides over it, whether it's going to be an investigation?
Well, there are different ways. You can go to the police, to the prosecutor's office, to the local prosecutor office, or the EULEX prosecutor office.
Okay, so in page 24, paragraph 2, this report says that 6 months before Maria Bamei emerged with her suspicious intercepts, the chief state prosecutor of Kosovo, Ismet Kabashi, presented the EULEX chief prosecutor Radoslava Novotna with a letter he received containing allegations against Francesco Florit. So even before Bamei came out with her allegations, a member of the public, we presume, has gone and reported this case to our chief prosecutor. Like you said, people can go to chief prosecutor today. And they went to Novotna, who said, among others, no, we are not going to open an investigation against Florit because he has immunity. Is that what you're going to say today to a member of Kosovo public who wants to complain?
Well, staff member of Juris have immunity. Immunity doesn't mean that they're not judgeable. Immunity means that they're judgeable in a different jurisdiction.
So what will you do today if they come and say, I have a case against a certain judge or prosecutor? What will be the reaction and who will make this decision?
The reaction will be to open an investigation, go through the case, see if the case is reasonably credible, and if there is a reasonable ground for proceeding, opening a formal process. Mm-hmm. In that case, if it's an international staff of the mission, the jurisdiction belongs to the sending state. And
who decides whether there is a case today? Mm-hmm. Who's the person, who's the position in EULEX or positions that decide that an internal investigation will take place?
Our rule says that the person that has the competence of starting an internal investigation is the deputy head of mission, and the head of mission is the appeal authority. So there is a first process made by an internal investigation team, made mostly by police.
When a member of public went 6 months before Maria Bamei to report this to Novotna, she ignored this letter of complaint against Florit. Do you think she should have begun an investigation then?
She was not her competence. But all this case is very strange to me because Maria Bamei was the only person having the competence to start an investigation, and she never did it.
No, this is 6 months before Bamei got involved. Yeah. The report says that the letter went straight to Ismet Kabashi, who went to Novotna. Bamei was not involved.
Novotna was not the right person to go because Novotna, she is not the
Why not? Chief
one.
Prosecutor. She was equivalent to
She didn't have the
Kabashi.
authority to open an investigation at that time.
She didn't say that.
And
she
even
just
now
said,
she can't. She's not the right person. Sorry.
But Mr. Kabashi
should have gone to some other authority, evidently.
What do you mean some other authority? Who?
Well, himself could have opened it as well. But it's
against Florit, who has immunity?
Yes, you can open an investigation. Then it cannot proceed, evidently. But
Why
you can
not
open
Novotna? Why not Novotna? Why she wouldn't have gone to her superior,
at that time,
deputy head?
I came with a new mandate. The structure is completely different. But
really?
in the previous structure, and still now, the head of the prosecution service are not, they are prosecutors as a profession. But in their functions, they do not exercise the prosecutorial functions.
So how come Novotna didn't know where to go to open investigation?
But it was treated.
Should your staff have gone? No.
Tell me the page.
6 months ago, 6 months before Bamei reported, was not treated.
It was treated. Everything that was given to the mission was treated, was analyzed, but it was not considered credible. Then in 2013, new elements emerged. It was considered more credible, and it went through an internal investigation. The internal investigation concluded saying that there are no grounds, but still...
She was chief prosecutor of EULEX then. What position is she now?
Acting head of the executive. Yeah.
Acting head of the executive. Is this promotion?
No, but simply because we don't have a head of the executive, so she's acting because she's the person that has this job, this position.
But it is a higher rank. She moved in the process where she's been involved. Florit is...
She never was involved in any process, and all the allegations are false. Is it clear?
No,
you're insisting on things that are gone.
There's an internal investigation.
These allegations are dead. They don't exist.
Not according to the
they
report.
Are ungrounded.
There's a judicial investigation ongoing that you just said
there is one
ongoing.
Florit. Stop. One. All the rest is gone.
How do you know? There's no indictment yet. There's no end to the investigation.
There is a ruling of opening an investigation made in November 2014 that mentions one person. Stop.
How do you know that the investigations will not be expanded and involve other people?
Because we know. Because there is when you have the ruling of opening of an investigation, it's written who is the person investigated.
Has there been an application to lift the immunity of Yaroslava Novotna?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
We have information that an application was made by the special prosecutor in this case, but it was blocked. It was blocked, simply was not given by EULEX.
I never had this information before.
But promoting Ms. Novotná for chief EULEX prosecutor to head of executive is not, according to you, is not taking this all seriously, this whole affair.
She should be promoted even more because she's an excellent professional, she's an excellent prosecutor, and she deserves more than she has.
Who did not want to lift Florit's immunity at the time? Who did not want to lift Florit's immunity when this
it's not up to her to decide. The immunity is lifted by the Secretary General of the United Nations, not by a prosecutor of EULEX.
Someone should have asked for it to be lifted.
Yes, and it went through the chain of command.
Let's move on. Beyond this report, what is EULEX's record? There's people like, I want to talk about this because there's people like EU diplomats, like Peter Faith, who have commented that none of the big fishes have ever faced a verdict. I always wondered why that was. Beyond the whole affair, your record of not having any of the verdicts since 2008, you've been here, 6 years, over 100 million euros per year, 1,600 employers per year, and you do not have a verdict of any on the big fishes. What do you think this speaks of EULEX's record?
What is the definition of big fish? Can you give me?
Highly ranked corrupt politician.
Okay, I mentioned just 3 cases of the last few months.
By the way, this big fish statement is from EULEX, not from us. It was an EULEX prosecutor who popularized this
but
word.
I mean, I'm not a fisherman, frankly. Well, 566 verdicts. Twice a week, basically. 423 verdicts in criminal cases of corruption, organized crime, and war crimes. Pending 250 war crimes cases. 51 were initiated by us, and the rest was inherited by UNMIK that is going on, including rape. 30 verdicts in war crimes have been already finalized. Prosecutors are currently involved, as I said, in 256 cases, 130 war crimes, 15 financial crimes, 32 anti-corruption crimes, 69 organized crimes, 10 counter-terrorism.
Any verdicts
10,658 cases were finalized in the Supreme Court with 8 international judges. 40,000 conflicts related to property cases have been resolved. 40,000.
Verdicts? Any verdicts, Mr.
400 yes. 450 appeals. 450 appeals against the Property Agency Appeal Panel has been decided by the Supreme Court thanks to us. 90 cases have been heard of in the Mitrovica Basic Court, 90 cases in the north. 477 field operations for recovering missing persons were done in field operation. 2,156 bones were analyzed and sent for DNA analysis. Excavation was made in Lubenic, Meja, Krusha, Chushk.
Okay, so why
100
is
suspects at least have been arrested through Interpol and Europol thanks to us in international operations. 12,391 books of Kosovo regional civil registry were transferred into the Kosovo system, and they were kept in Serbia before.
Great statistics. I'm impressed. So why
12,391.
Why such a bad reputation that you don't have any verdicts? And I'm quoting this. I'm quoting from research done on that there's no verdicts on high-level corruption. Tell me, what do you consider a verdict on high-level corruption?
I reject totally the idea of the big fish because I don't know what it is technically. From a juridical point of view, you have a suspect when you have evidence.
Highly ranked politicians.
Highly ranked politicians, you need to have evidence. And I think that the recent case of Limay, for instance, which is a high-ranked politician,
which is not
under
finished.
a war crime process, give you an idea, you know.
Let's talk about that case. It started with a big bang, big raids, big guns. against the former transport minister, the case has not ended. There's no verdict.
The appeal is finished. The first instance is finished. Mr. Lima has been found not guilty. Mm-hmm. I don't care, because what I'm care about is the fair trial, the process, that this process is done according to rules of criminal procedure, and the fair trial is done. What the result is, frankly speaking, I'm not interested in that.
You don't care, but that case is kind of symbolic. So
about two ways to
there is high corruption in Kosovo, according to many EU reports, but EULEX does not manage to have a verdict on high corruption cases. How come?
I mentioned to you, should I repeat the numbers? I do, very gladly.
No, we're talking about high level, that EU reports say constantly
high level,
corruption.
it depends where you stop. You know, where is high level, you mean? You want us to put in jail all the prime ministers? That's
yes, let's talk about this.
That's
because
political justice. We don't do that.
No, it's not political justice.
We don't
you do
just
that.
Put in
Actually,
jail
you do
like
that.
this.
Let me show you.
And then we see if you are innocent, you know.
No, we have, there's suspicion that EULEX has worked
with
with
the job of
double
justice.
standards.
That's the job of politics, to eliminate leaders. Politics do that.
Can I
Voters
put a question through?
Elections do that, not justice.
Precisely about the Lima case, there's a perception of double standard. Your special prosecutor, who started this case, the German special prosecutor called Johannes Pickert, on 23rd of April 2012, wrote a letter to the Prime Minister of Kosovo, that at that time, Hashim Thaçi, a highly confidential letter, almost begging Mr. Thaçi to act as a witness on the case, because you know this was a very high-level, sensitive public interest case. It was about money in the transport ministry, which has the biggest funds. Mr. Pickert wrote to Mr. Thaçi, begging him to become witness and saying it's up to you whether you want to come in or whether you want to write us your answers.
Right.
There's a perception for some that the transport minister was raided, was with a lot of cameras, while the Prime Minister of Kosovo, considered a more bankable politician, was being asked in the backstage through highly confidential letter to that it's up to him whether he wants to become a witness in this case or not. So there's a perception that you treat politicians with double standards. To Hashim Thaçi, the same special prosecutor didn't want to bring him in and question him as a witness, but to others, if they were less important people, they did. Why do you consider that because somebody is important?
Because we respect the rules, and the Constitution gives to the Prime Minister, the President, some prerogatives. One of them is not to be called in justice, to be a witness against
Why not?
their...
Isn't Prime Minister...
Every state is like that.
Same in front of the law? No, maybe in Italy. In paper, in front of the law, your Prime Minister is in Italy, was asked to come in.
Yeah, but you have to go
questioned.
through certain procedures that are completely different from the other citizens, you know, because they have a prerogative.
Have you heard about Croatia case? They didn't actually ask the Prime Minister whether he wants to come in.
I'm afraid if you want to go into this detail, you have to ask Mr. Pickering, not me.
We did. Are you interested to know what was his answer?
I don't know his answer.
We asked him why did he not question Mr. Thaçi, because it was well known in the press that he was a witness. Mr. Pickert said that we are flexible. That's why we didn't question him, because we are flexible.
Okay.
That's the perception about your mission, that it's a mission that is flexible with some, but with some it wants to show force.
The mission was never flexible. So the problem is that we analyze evidence. We don't analyze rumors or political wishes. This is not our job, and must be very clear.
This was not rumor. Here's the letter with your special prosecutor.
If you want me to speak about the letter, you give me in advance, and I will read it before, not during the transmission, and I will bring it to my colleagues.
This is a part of public documents.
It's rules are rules. Evidence is evidence. Probation is probation. There is criminal justice. It's not a joke, okay? Rumors and people. We are full of people coming to us, saying things in a bar or in a restaurant. These and that. Doesn't count anything for us. Then when you propose to formalize it, just want to sign, become a witness in a trial, no, everybody just
No.
This is something, a wake-up call
Mr.
for
Meucci,
Kosovo.
we have
Sorry.
the most expensive roads in Europe
I think you
that
should
break
stop.
down
You
very
should
often,
stop.
and you have no verdict. You have a former transport minister that
you can
didn't
never
manage
reach
to...
a verdict if you don't have evidence. I'm sorry, that's the rule of law.
Evidence. Why can't you collect evidence?
Evidence, because there is no witnesses, or they retire, or they just don't want to talk anymore.
All the prosecution says to the witnesses, you don't have to come.
Can I say something more, which is very important? If you really want to get a grip on corruption, you have to take it not from prosecuting the actual case of corruption, which is mission impossible most of the times to document, but you have to go through the analyzing the budget and the financial system of the companies that usually are corrupting.
So what's wrong with that? We do that as investigative journalists all the time.
Yes, but the problem is that in Kosovo there is not yet a financial system in the companies that is efficient, and the tax authorities are not efficient enough to control all the system, because that's the way you get it. You corrupt a politician, usually you have to create a fake expense in the budget of the company. Otherwise, no businessman in the world corrupt a politician with his own personal money. They take it from the company. But in order to do that, you have to create some fake budget, something like that. The control of all this is extremely complicated. I'm sorry to say there isn't yet here this structure, but that's the only way you can fight corruption. And that's actually the turning point. The turning point will be that one.
You say you are not informed about, you don't deal with rumors, but you seem quite informed about how things go on in Kosovo.
Because that's the agenda. It's not only Kosovo, it's all over the world the same.
Yes.
The countries that are fighting corruption well, and they succeed in that, they are not fighting the corruption like the moment when the people are exchanging money, because that's to document.
I know, you've been here 6 years. You've had 100 million a year.
In all the countries of the world there is corruption. It's not only here.
I know, but
if you
have
want
no
to fight
verdict.
it, you have to go through the way the money to corrupt the people are created. And if you want to investigate and get the evidence on how the money is created to corrupt the people, you have to go through a very efficient and working financial control of all the businesses. And
so are you saying
here is not present yet?
Okay, so if that is not present, you have no role to play. Then why you waste this money? Why you waste this time and taxpayers' money if it's not possible to address corruption?
Well, we do also war crimes, and we do also serious crimes.
Let's talk about war crimes.
Yeah.
Because right now, EULEX, what is EULEX doing about the fact that Serbia does not accept international legal requests from EULEX? There are over 200 of them sitting in Belgrade. This is war crimes requests for war crime suspects sitting in Serbia. And prosecutions are being severely jeopardized because of this, letting guilty people are walking free. What's going on with this?
Well, these cases are not only war crimes. Most of it's very funny because there are legal cases that they were actually answered by Serbia until EULEX was sending them the request. Since October last year, it was decided that we had to go through the European office and not the EULEX anymore. And in Belgrade, they don't want to recognize the European office as the competent authority for transmitting these requests.
So it's a great way for war criminals to walk free? No,
it's not actually. These cases, 90% of these requests relate to the giving back of property to Serbian citizens. So
great. So how many of them are war crimes chasing war criminals?
Actually, to tell you the truth, the war crimes are one of the most efficient cooperation between Kosovo and Serbia.
Really?
Because the war crimes unit in the prosecution service of Kosovo
is
working with the Serbian unit.
What is efficient for you? How many war crimes have been completed since EULEX came to Kosovo?
Yes, I tell you now. So 130 war crimes are pending.
I'm not talking about pending, I'm talking about completed.
And 30 have been gone to the end.
So 30 maybe suspects, but 15 war crimes in 6 years. What I'm saying is that there 51. Are 13,000 victims from the Kosovo War in Kosovo, with 15 war crimes cases having been completed by EULEX. Yes. But on the other hand, you have the Special Investigative Task Force that is prosecuting cases involving deaths of 500 people, while 500 people there will be about a dozen people suspect there. Isn't this too little? Because there is not such a good record in finishing war cases, considering that you have not trained any locals to do war crimes while you've been here as EULEX.
That's not true.
Who will do war crimes when EULEX packs up?
A war crimes unit has been created in the SPRK made by locals.
War
my
crime
opinion should be
investigations.
strengthened because it's not big enough, you know.
But locals are not allowed yet to do war crimes,
Why
right?
not? I mean, since more than 1 year ago, we don't have an exclusive jurisdiction anymore. We are passing on these cases, and there is a local prosecutors that are dealing with them as well. So we work together. We're embedded in the system. EULEX is embedded in the Kosovo justice. We are part of it. We are not out. We are in the Kosovo system. People don't understand that very much. But what EULEX is doing here is inside the justice system of Kosovo, with the uniform of a Kosovo judge or a prosecutor, doing the same job as the locals. Maybe they're in different offices, but the rules are the same and the cases are the same sometimes. So.
Why have there been no successful prosecutions for rape by EULEX?
There has been actually the first verdict for
Not
rape.
successful.
For rape was done by you. I told you the process is the objective of the rule of law, not the result. The result depends on the justice.
The result is important, Mr. Meucci.
The result is important. No, for me, no.
For raped people, yes. For victims of war, yes.
The process is the objective of the rule of law. The fair process and the rules of law are applied, and everybody has a right to complain.
The result is important because you are getting your requests.
Our job is the trial. The result of the trial is not under evaluation of EULEX.
But if you do not manage...
As a journalist, you're free to comment all the verdicts that you want. But as a lawyer,
on highly corrupt
the rule of law
is
the way of doing. It's like delivering a baby. You know, I'm like a doctor, and I'm happy if the baby is delivered. If it's a boy or a girl, it's not
or if the baby is dead in the end, it's not important. In this case, the baby is dead. There's no verdict in the end for rape in a place that war went on.
The sentence is the baby and is alive. The verdict is alive and is there. If the verdict is a boy or a girl, it's not important for the doctor.
Having been no successful cases of rape in a place where there have been rape evidence,
there has been a trial
without any success.
Actually.
Without any success, not managed to get the verdict. But let's go to the final question. Isn't...
you know why? Because people are afraid to talk.
Really?
Yeah.
No, because they don't believe EULEX. No,
because witnesses are afraid to
they
talk.
They don't trust EULEX. That's why.
You say that, I say no. It's because people are afraid to talk. You know how many witnesses would like to talk, but they don't in rape cases? Because they say, if I say that, all the village will say I've been raped. You know, so they don't talk.
Well, because even under your supervision, you allowed witnesses to kill themselves under your supervision. That's how great you were with witnesses before in very highly sensitive war crimes.
What you say is extremely grave. I reject it totally. Yes, and I'm actually a little bit shocked.
A really key witness died under you.
We have a witness protection program that is very efficient.
Really?
The problem is that
Agim Zogaj, how did he die? Witness to war crime.
Yes, that's a good question. That's a good question. It's a criminal case, evidently.
Under EULEX supervision, he should have been taken care of. Yes. He was allowed to kill himself.
We took care very well.
Okay, so that's the great witness protection program. I want to end with this.
Listen, these I don't accept. What you're saying is extremely grave. The witness protection program is extremely important. It's working very well, but it entails for the people that want to participate such a change of life, total change of life, like leaving your country, be relocated in another place, break all the contacts with your relatives, friends, and family, change identity, all these kind of things that are extremely touching your life.
Yes, we have one of those witnesses, Blaca, who has probably gone through this, and you are not going through with Blaca 3, Blaca 4, a witness which is incredibly brave, incredible evidence, and you are still not pursuing two other cases that may attack very high levels of politicians
You
here.
probably know better than me because these are pending cases that I don't know the details. I don't know. If you give me your information, I'd be glad to know because I'm not informational.
I want to go and end with a metaphor a little bit of what is going on with the Palace of Justice. Not because I feel that EULEX is personally responsible, but maybe what is happening with the European taxpayers' money in EULEX and what is happening with 26 million euros of taxpayers' money, EU taxpayers' money, that went into inaugurating an amazing building called in Kosovo Palace of Justice that has been built for several years now. Right now, what's going on with, I don't know if you're following, what's going on with that building is that judges cannot see witnesses from their bench where they sit because it's been built incorrectly. Basically, emergency lights are not working. We have a situation like one we did recently, Nasser Kelmendi, a big criminal. Power went during that, and a witness was less than 2 meters away from an alleged major crime lord. The witness was extremely terrified. You have video and audio that's not recording there. You have no proper road there, no public transport, no simultaneous translation. Stairways are so narrow, 2 people cannot go down. The lift went down and injured 4 judges in that building, all built with EU taxpayers' money. Do you think that building is a symbol of what's going wrong with the justice system in Kosovo, including the EU taxpayers' money?
I have no idea. I don't know. Why you ask me?
Why not? You are EU diplomat.
We didn't do the building.
EU did, paid for it.
EULEX is not involved in this. We just are living there together with the other Kosovo judges and prosecutors, and we are complaining about the same issues as well. I think that you made such a big story. Evidently, there is a company that built this palace that had to fix some problems.
Story?
You know? I mean, it's probably a big story for you.
For
me, it's a palace of justice, and that's all.
No, it's
very nice, actually. I saw
euros of taxpayers' money from the countries you come from member states.
It's a very nice palace. What's the problem?
It's not. It looks nice, but it's not functional. It's having a lot of problems.
Judgment.
It
has
a lot of problems.
Compared to the places we were doing trials before, I think it's a very nice place.
Okay. Mr. Meucci, thank you for coming to Jetanko So.
Well, thank you.